Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Today, for social skills, we're going to talk about this right here. They don't love me. And the reason we're going to talk about that is because I was in an event this weekend in Douglasville. Douglasville Police Department, they have a program called Youth Against Violence. And what happens in that program is that if they're somebody that, they're facing jail time for, minor crimes and stuff like that, instead of the judge putting them in jail, he has another option. Them and their parents can agree to go to the Youth Against Violence program. And it's a program that extends over an 8-week term. So they have to give up their Saturdays for 4 hours, and they have to go and they get trained on how to be against violence. What are some of the things that you have to do to not fall into that category with, particularly what we're talking about today is gangs. So he had, Chief Sparks had an actual gang member to get up and open. He had an actual gang. Don't do that. Don't do that. But he had an actual person to get up and speak on his own experiences about gang activity. Okay? Now, the reason I thought that was very powerful is because, when you hear that coming from somebody that's actually in a gang, then it has much more power than somebody that's not. Okay? And so one of the things they talk about is why people join gangs. Okay? So we want to talk about those reasons. Why do people join gangs? And it said the very first reason is they want a sense of family. Okay, what do you think they mean when they say something like that? By raising your hand, what do you think they mean by that?
I feel like they mean that their family dead, so they're trying to go back and find the person whoever killed their family. And I don't know.
Okay, so you think it's probably talking about them trying to find the person that did something to their families. What about you, Caleb?
I think a sense of family means like the a sense of family, like if your family doesn't act like a real family anymore, you go to the gangs and they'll ride or die for you. That's why I think
Right, absolutely. So, Caleb, you're right. A sense of family. Everybody wants to be in a family that does what? Love them, cares about them,
Do stuff for them.
share things with them. Everybody wants to be a part of a family. When you come home, you want your mother, your father to hug you and say, "Hey, how you doing?" Everybody want to be a part of that. You want to be able to go places, go to vacations with your family, and you want somebody that's going to be there when you're going through the rough times. How many of y'all know some young people don't have that? Okay, LaKayla.
some people don't have that because
Okay, but some people don't have that, and so the gang gives them that. The gang becomes your family, so they say. So they say they become your family. But the gentleman that was speaking this weekend, he had something else to say, because let me tell you some of his story. He was committed to a gang. He was doing stuff. He would go, him and his gang would go rob houses. So they were doing things like this all the time. But one day, he took it upon himself to go do something on his own without the gang permission. And so, they wanted to send him a message. And so, they killed his daughter, and they killed his brother. Okay? And that hurt him to the core. And so he wanted to do something back. Okay, just like anybody, man. Somebody hurt your family member, somebody hurt somebody that you love. You know, you want to get back at them. And so that's what he did. He ended up, doing some other things, causing the death of 2 other people. And the bottom line, he ended up in jail. Okay? But he said what he found out in jail is, because he wasn't, doing the drugs all the time and drinking all the time and he could think, he realized that the reason he joined the gang is because he wanted to have that sense of family. Family don't do things like that. They don't go and kill people that you love.
Actual family.
Right. And so, he had a renewed mindset. His mindset was changing because now he realized, man, it's not that sense of family that we think of, okay? Now, they also talked about people joining because they needed food or money. Now, that's what I talk to you guys about all the time. That's why you want to take this school thing serious. Nathaniel, Javon, Caleb, Michaela, Janet, Nathan. That's why you want to take this school thing serious, because guess what? When you get to a certain age and you get out there in life and your school days are over, you're going to want to have nice things. You're going to want the shoes, you're going to want the J's, you're going to want the polo, the Ralph Lauren shirt. You're going to want to have True Religion jeans that cost $200. You're going to desire these things. But if you haven't taken care of business while you're here, you're not going to have the financial means to do so. And so because you don't have the financial means to do so, guess what gangs do? They offer you the opportunity to be able to have things like that. Because that's what they do. They commit crimes. They rob people. Okay? They do things like that. Alright? And so, the sense of need for food and money, okay, can cause them to join a gang. Now, we're going to talk about his reasons. Let's talk about the desire for protection. You feel like, especially if you're in that environment, people from South Central LA, they felt the need to be protected. They felt like a gang could protect them from certain people and protect them from other gangs. So they felt like they didn't have a choice but to choose. Another one is peer pressure. Peer pressure. When you see friends, doing things like that, you probably going to want to be a part of what the cool guys are doing. Okay, so all of these reasons are reasons of family, history, and tradition. And number 6, that's the one I want to talk about, because he said an interesting thing. Excitement. Excitement. Some of us people, we have personality traits, right? And one personality trait is called sensational seekers. Sensational seekers, they want that excitement. They want that excitement. I got a son. That's one of the reasons that he was successful as a leader in basketball. That's why Eagles Landing in 2013 won that state title. That's why our team won that state title in 2013, because he was a leader and he got excited. He lived for that moment. And so when we had to play somebody that was really, really good, he lived for those days because he was a sensational seeker. He wanted that excitement. And one of the things that I heard this guy say, because one of the students raised their hand and say, why did you do it? And he said, you know what? It ended up being a rush for me. When I did that first crime, when I robbed that first home, it got my adrenaline going. Okay? Then I robbed another home. And it just got the adrenaline going. It was the excitement of being able to get away and outthink the police, outsmart the police when they're trying to catch us and find us. Okay? So, sensational seeking is not a bad trait because my son was able to be a leader to help us win the state title. Okay, but at the same time, you know, it can be a negative trait that can lead us into things like addiction. Okay, sensational seekers are more apt to go on. I'm not saying that personality trait leads to addiction and stuff like that, but okay, a person that is a sensational seeker is more apt to do it because they're looking for what? That rush, that excitement. Okay, those are the kind of things when they're doing it, they get that adrenaline rush, and so they keep doing it, and they keep doing it. And that's the one thing he said he got from doing it. And it just caused him to do more and more and more things. Okay? But the other thing that he said that was interesting to me is that he said when he got in trouble, he finally got in trouble, he had to leave New Orleans. He was from New Orleans. And he had to leave from New Orleans because the gang put a hit out on him. So, you know, putting a hit out on him mean that they were hiring somebody to kill him.
Yeah, they had somebody paid to kill him, and then if he got killed, then the people would have to pay.
Right. And so, since he had a hit on him, he escaped New Orleans and he came to Atlanta. But he eventually got locked up here in Atlanta for crimes, and they found out that he had done some stuff in New Orleans as well. So he had to do some time. And he said that while he was spending that time in prison, he was mad because that was his only daughter. And it hurt him to the core. It killed his brother. And he said he was so mad because he know the two guys that was blamed for it, that did it. And he said it just burned him. But then as he sat in jail and he started to meditate and think, he started to realize that, guess what? It wasn't even their fault. Whose fault was it?
His.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Caleb? It was his. Janet?
It was his.
Okay. Nathan?
His.
His. Okay. He said he started to realize that had he not been a part of that gang in the first place,
His daughter was
his daughter would still be living today. His brother would still be living today. Okay, so these kind of people tell you, hey, we're family.
But then if you mess with us, we're going to kill you.
Remember, we raise our hands, Kate. Okay? That's my family, but my family kills my own flesh and blood. That's not family. Okay? And that's why I said, they don't love you. They don't love you. Your family loves you. Okay? Because your family, even when you do stuff that's wrong and embarrass them, guess what your family do?
They help you.
They say, come on, with open arms. Come on back. We can get over it. We can help you. We love you. You did some wrong things, but we love you. Okay? That's what families do. Families don't put you in situations where you're not able to see the loved ones, your blood. Families don't put you in situations where you can possibly get in trouble and go to jail for years and you not be able to see your blood. Okay? So he talked about those things, and it was very, very interesting. And that's why I do what I do every day. You know, when I tell you guys to have a growth mindset, I'm telling you that because I don't want you to fall prey to those things. Okay? When I tell you guys, Michaela, when I tell you to listen, okay, I'm telling you that because I don't want you to fall prey to that stuff. Because yes, young ladies are in gangs as well.
Young and A.
They're in gangs as well. So, When I tell you that I want you to work hard and give your best and not give up on things because they are difficult, I'm not saying that just to make you upset. I'm not saying that just to get on your nerves. I'm saying it because I want to see you do good in life. Okay? And they don't. They don't. They don't. You know, the last reason was they want to appear cool. That's not cool. That's not cool going around taking something from people that put all their hard-earned money in. That's not cool. It's not cool at all.
Yeah, I got banned for all.
Okay.
I was walking down the street and I had $100. I had a $100 bill in my pocket, and I pulled it out because I was like close to the store because I was gonna buy a lot of things. And so, and then when I pulled it out, somebody came and they said, "Give me your money," and then I gave it to them.
Wow. Now I'm gonna ask this before we end it up. I'm gonna ask this one question. Has anybody in here ever been approached? You can be honest. What we say here is not gonna go past this room. Has anybody ever been approached to be a part of a game? Yeah, you have. What did you say? What was your response?
No.
No. What was your response?
I said no, but then they tried to.
At
And
first,
that's why I do that, because even though you guys are fifth graders, man, they start early. They just like me as a basketball coach. I wanted my guys early so I could teach them, you know, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade. By the time they get in the eighth grade, man, and they've been with me all of those years, they're going to be really, really good. And so gangs, they think the same way. If we can groom them while they're young, you know, we can teach them how to be really, really good, and they'll be valuable to the family. Okay? So don't think that they're going to love you. Gangs are for people that are not thinkers. Gangs are for people that choose not to have a growth mindset. Gangs are for people, okay, that don't want true success. Okay, and I know everybody in here, you're people that are going to reach that level of success. All right, turn it on.